I'm a student in the Bachelor of Arts program with College for America at Southern International University. And I'm conducting this interview as part of my academic life. With your consent, I will record this interview and use the information in creating uh, the government and you deliverable that I'm working on in the goal called um, uh, so the interview will be used um, to create the deliverable, and I say, and it will be submitted to College for America that my project can be evaluated. This recording will be used solely for this purpose. The interview information will be recorded and will be temporarily stored in the College for America online operation system, to which only the evaluator and College for America staff will have access. You have access. Okay. Do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded? So um, then would you state this of your diploma?
I, Sergio, give my informed consent to participate in this interview, to be recorded and used as part of student academic work.
Okay, so thank you very much for accepting me to have you as my respondent. So I'm going to be asking you just a few questions. Yeah, as I told you, it's about the contribute to society, and it's more related to how our government functions. So I have four questions only. So feel free to just give me the best answer that you have. So first one is, what are the three branches of the government?
So thank you for that question. I think we have judicial branch, we have, yes, executive and legislative.
So you know,
Yes, I know.
okay. So let's go on. What does each branch? So from those branches.
So I know that the legislative branch is there to make laws, and executive is there to vote for the law or else implement it. I know that the judicial is there to analyze, interpret the laws based on the constitutions that the particular government might have.
That's very nice. It seems like maybe you studied them somewhere. Okay, so um, we have Democrats and Republicans as the major parties. Can you name the third
I'm not quite sure about the third one, but I assume that I feel
okay?
yeah, but they don't have a clear name about that.
And it's okay, just if you don't know it, it's just okay. Yeah. So maybe I may give you some clarification after. So let's continue on the last one. So what is the basic process by which a bill becomes law? So do you know a bill?
Yeah, I know a kind of a proposal.
Like a proposal. So when does it become law?
I don't have clear understanding of it, but what I know is that it's actually our process. I know it has to pass through different offices. The Senate has to contribute. The judicial part has to contribute. People's, I mean, the citizens, the country has to contribute. But what I can say is that the president of the country has to sign for it at the end. So he is the one to confirm it.
So you mean that the president is like the head, the overall, yeah,
Yes,
or the boss,
sure.
yeah. So thank you very much for having this interview.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Dennis Mugavide. I'm a student in the Bachelor of Arts program with College for America at Southern Hampshire University, and I'm conducting this interview as part of my academic plan. With your consent, I will record this interview and use the information in the the government deliverable and working on for the goal called contribute to society. The interview will be used to create the the government review, deliverable as I said, and to be submitted to Credit for America so that my project can be evaluated. This recording will be used solely for this purpose. The interview information will be temporarily stored in the College for America online evaluation system, to which only the evaluator and the College for America staff will have access. Do you have any questions? So if you don't have any question and you've given me the consent to be interviewed and recorded, read this statement.
I, Karin, give my informed consent to participate in this interview, be recorded and used as part of the student academic program.
Okay, so thank you very much for allowing me to interview you. Yeah, so here I have a few questions. Yeah, so the goal called contribute to society is more about like knowing how our government works. So I have four questions. The first one is, what are the three branches of the government? Okay, so those are yeah. Mainly. So what does each branch do?
I think the judiciary it's the law, legislative boards, the law, and the
Executive makes the okay. Yeah, again, you may be free to talk about it the way you want it. Okay, so again, now the third question. So, we have Democrats and Republicans as the major parties. Can you name the third party? Yeah, like the one just. Not really sure. You can't. Okay, so have you maybe seen maybe the posters, the what? Maybe. Okay, so then the last question: what is the best process by which a bill becomes a law? Maybe I'm confused about this. Do you know a bill?
Yeah.
So, so when does it become a law?
I know nothing of the process. I know that it's a long process, requiring for a lot of consents and votes and other.
You're not sure. Okay. So thank you very much. Maybe we may keep talking. So, welcome once again to this video presentation. So in the first two parts of this video, we've heard from two people. That was we had Karin and we also had the Sidio. So they answered the four questions. So they just said the way they knew the questions. So they got some questions right and others wrong. So in this part, I'm going to be correcting them and also telling you about my views or what I think. So the first question was, what are the three branches of the government? Yeah, so to answer that, we have three branches of the government. So the first one is legislative, the second one is judicial, and the last one is executive branch. Let's go deep in that. At first, let's look at the legislative branch. It's a branch also called the Congress. It's there to make laws. So the Congress is divided into the Senate and the House of Representatives, and there are 100 senators while there are 435 representatives. And the number of
representatives from each state depends on the population size of those particular states. The judicial part includes the Supreme Court and the 9 justices. So there are special judges who interpret laws according to the Constitution. As the highest court, the judicial system has courts located in different states, and those small courts in each state are just there to hear issues involving federal issues. So the public can raise issues to such courts in different states. So the last one is the executive part, or the branch, that is made up of the president and over 5 million workers. And the president or the executive branch is that it's there to enforce the laws that the legislative branch makes. So the president is voted by all citizens who are 18 years and above, and those ones are eligible. So on this question, Karine had said that the legislative branch, the executive branch, and also the judicial branch are the major branches. I think, and I believe he had gotten this correct. Also, the same applies to CDO. He had said judicial branch, executive branch, and the legislative. So he had made it correct. Here, CDO had said that the judicial branch interprets the law. Yeah, here it was correct. He said that the executive branch vote for the law. So here it was not correct, because the executive branch is not there to vote. Even if it participates in having the law passed, but it's like it signs or it gives the final conclusion on the laws. So here CDO was not correct, and he said that legislative branch makes the law, and there it was correct. Also, Karine said that the legislative branch is there to make laws. She was correct. She said that the legislative is there to implement the laws, which I think is not correct. And then he said that the legislative branch, no, the judicial branch is just there to oversee how the law is implemented. There, I don't think that is correct. It's not correct, because they just analyze, and then they interpret how they see the law, and according to the Constitution. And then the second question was, what does each branch do? Yeah, so on this one, let's cover this by looking at the connection of these two branches. So at first, as I said, depending on how, based on how these branches operate, there's a big connection. So as the legislative branch makes the law, and the executive branch signs or brings the law to conclusion, and as the judicial branch also interprets and analyzes the law depending on the Constitution, there's a big connection, because without one of the branches, nothing can function. So it is from one step to the other one. So, and now to tackle this question, well, let's look at the checks and balances which exist among these branches. So the first check and balance is that the legislative branch makes laws, but the president in executive branch can veto the law, and with a presidential veto. And the second one is that the legislative branch makes laws, but the judicial branch can declare them unconstitutional. The third one is that the president in the executive branch can veto a law, but the legislative branch can override the veto with enough votes. Another one is that the judicial branch interprets laws, but the president nominates Supreme Court justices, Court of Appeals judges, and district court judges who make and evaluate the laws. So let's now go to the third question. The third one is, Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name a third party? So many people here failed to answer this. Let's look at the answers that they had. Here, Karin had said that it's RPF, which is the third party, and Sibio had said RPA, which are like almost similar, like they are almost similar answers. So it shows that these people don't really know the third party in the US. So the third party is the Green Party. Yeah, even though most people don't know this because it's not so common, and so it has not had so many representatives as the Democrats and the Republicans. Then now let's look at the last question. The last question is, what is the basic process by which a bill becomes a law? Yeah, so here, I think most of them were almost to the point, but they missed one thing. So can you say that she was not really sure that she knows that it's a long process? Yeah, she acknowledged that the process is so long. And Sergio said that he didn't have clear understanding of it, and she said that it's a long process, as Karin had said, and also he said that people vote for a bill and then the president signs it to become a law. So now let's go through that process. As they all said, it's really a long process. Yeah. So at first, what we have to know is that every part should participate in the bid to become a law. And as we said, we have those branches that that work hand in hand to make that bid to be a law, and the general public should also participate. So let's now be in it. So at first, the bill is drafted. Members of Congress, the executive branch, and even outside groups can draft or write or draw up the bill, and the bill is introduced in the House. So representatives are the ones who introduce the bill in the House, and only the members can introduce the bill. The bill is then sent to the committee. The Speaker of the House sends the bill to the committee. The committee then comes the committee action. Most bills die in this process, and here the committee may pigeonhole, table, amend, or vote on the bill. And when the bill passes at this stage, it goes to the Rules Committee. Then the Rules Committee decides the rule for debate, and when the bill will come up for the debate. And then the second one is the next step is the floor action. Here the House debates the bill and many add amendments on that bill. And if the majority of the votes are in favor of the bill, it goes to the Senate. And as the bill is introduced to the Senate again introduces the bill, and the bill is now sent to the committee. And then in this, the committee action, there are same procedures as it was in the House. So if the committee, the members of the committee in majority vote for the bill, it goes to the Senate as a whole. And then the bill is called up, majority of the floor leaders decide when the whole Senate will consider the bill. And then there comes also the floor action again. The bill is debated, and in this case the amendment may be added. And if the majority of the votes are in favor of the bill, it is again returned to the House of Representatives. Then there comes the conference committee. If the House rejects any of the changes, the bill goes on to the conference committee of members from both houses, and it works out as the compromise. The vote on compromise, both houses must approve changes made by the conference committee, and if approved, the bill goes directly to the president, and this is called the presidential action. The president may sign or approve the bill, or veto, which is about rejecting it, and if this is approved, again, it becomes a law. So the last step is vote to override. If the president votes the bill, it can still become a law if 2/3 of both houses vote to override the veto. So in this case, even if the president can sign the bill, it can also be made unconstitutional in case the many votes are override that veto. Yeah, so this brings this video to an end. So I hope you've had the answers to these questions and what my respondents answered. Yeah, so here the government of the United States should continue to have this spirit, because it makes to the government itself and the general public to make informed decisions based on the points of view from different people, from different members, and also from different states. Thank you very much.